This episode of The Memory Palace is brought to you by Article. We are big fans of Article here at The Memory Palace. This room of the palace, the ballroom where I'm sitting right now, it's palatial, trust me, is lit beautifully by a legit beautiful lamp from Article. This stuff is of extraordinarily high quality. It is truly lovely furniture that's influenced by, mid-century modern and Scandinavian styles. I have a feeling you're really going to like it. If you've never checked it out before, summer and warmer weather is right around the corner here in the Northern Hemisphere. And they really have fantastic outdoor furniture. It's totally worth checking out. Go to article.com and take a look. The stuff looks great, and it is made with all these outdoor-friendly materials like teak and acacia wood and granite and galvanized steel and rattan. And it comes to you with a flat delivery fee of $49, regardless of what you're buying and how big the order is. So go to www.article.com/memorypalace and get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. That is www.article.com/memorypalace. Go check it out. I'm excited to tell you guys about a new sponsor that solves the underlying problem of furniture shopping, which is you look at this stuff online and you have no idea whether it's going to actually work in your room. Well, say hello to Modesty. With Modesty, you can see new furniture in a 3D model of your actual room and redecorate it until you get your room just right. You're going to send Modesty a few photos of the room, you're going to answer a short online style quiz, and that's it. Then you have this sort of 3D model of your room, and then you can take furniture that they have from all these great partners, like Crate and Barrel and West Elm, and spin them around, and you can see exactly how they're going to look in your space. And there's no more, crossing your fingers and just hoping it's going to fit, or crossing your fingers and just hoping that the colors aren't going to clash. You can swap stuff out until you find just the right thing you're looking for. So head over to modsy.com/memory and you can get yourself a 20% discount on your first room. That's modsy.com/memory. This is the Memory Palace. I'm Nate DiMeo. Some were running from, and some were running towards. Some were born there, born with this city in their veins, they tell you. And in the summer of 1892, there were 3.3 million people living in New York. The city bulged with immigrants from abroad, people fleeing famines, pogroms, and with transplants from other states and other cities that simply weren't New York. They came looking for jobs, for opportunity, for more out of life, to make it, to hustle, to scrape, to push themselves forward in a city unafraid to push back. So they squeezed into tenements, found a space on the floor of a flophouse, pushed a cart, shined a shoe, stole a watch from a pocket on a trolley platform. And some would go to the opera, and some would trade in diamonds, and some would shout orders for stocks on the floor of the exchange for the railroad companies and the shipping concerns that brought still more people to New York. Some would deposit checks and notes in the banks, fat with capital, that would build the buildings that would rise ever taller to be seen from farther and farther away by still more people looking for more out of life. And all of them, these 3.3 million New Yorkers, all of them would sweat. Because it was the summer, and it was 1892, and there was no air conditioning, no oscillating fans, no refrigeration. But there were strawberries rotting on the backs of fruit carts. There were horses and manure everywhere, steaming in the streets. And there was trash piled and poured into places that maybe you couldn't see, but you sure could smell, on the thick, still air, on your clothes, in your nose, in your stifling room, with no air conditioning, no oscillating fan, maybe no window. And there were other people, 3.3 million, some of them, several probably, sleeping right there in that same room with you, maybe in that same bed, while you tried to sleep through the sticky night so you could spend the next day in a sweltering factory sitting elbow to elbow, stitching, packing, lifting, watching the clock, looking up at the newly invented electric lights that had been newly installed in the ceiling, maybe thinking about the promise, the way that electricity was supposed to change everything, supposed to make all that stitching and packing and lifting easier, maybe obsolete. But so far, all it meant to you was another hot thing in that hot room. But you were out of the sun at least. Not on a trolley or on an omnibus, with more people, more bodies, more armpits, more sweaty backs, all packed in like sardines, but at least sardines get to be packed in water. And everyone, all these bodies, rushing, always trying to get somewhere. Because that's what you did in New York. That's what you do. Walking blocks upon blocks, amidst buildings that were taller than you'd ever seen, but not yet tall enough to cast those long shadows that can make a Manhattan summer something approaching bearable today. And you'd keep rushing, keep pushing, trying to get somewhere, trying to make a life in the city that beats you down like the summer sun. This city that doesn't sleep because it simply can't. Because there are those nights in July and August when it just doesn't break, the heat. And you wonder why you came here at all. There have to be other places, cooler than this. Well, not cooler, but cooler than this. Easier than this. Where you can live a life without pushing through crowds. Where you don't have to push so hard. In one of those nights, July 1892, people looked out from their tenement windows. They stepped out from their stuffy office into the stuffier evening. They staggered out from the factory and stretched out their sore backs and their crooked fingers. And they saw something incredible. The Cumberland Hotel was an odd structure, set as it was in the triangular plot of land made by the intersection of 5th and Broadway and 23rd. The building was a 12-story wedge that towered over a row of squat one-story storefronts. It had one windowless wall that could be seen. Buy homes on Long Island, it said. Swept by ocean breezes. Buy homes on Long Island. Swept by ocean breezes. Buy homes on Long Island. Swept by ocean breezes. Blinking on and off, on and on, calling to you through the sweltering night. And how could you not want that? That home by the ocean. How could you not want to escape? Get away from this city for good, and its heat, and its horses,